Have you noticed that every time you turn over your phone or every time you look at a clock or a number plate, you keep seeing the same numbers over and over again? Or have you ever perhaps experienced coincidence after coincidence, and all of these coincidences were way too meaningful to just be shaken off as a random event? For centuries, people have been fascinated by the idea of synchronicity and the meaning behind these repeating number patterns and meaningful coincidences. According to science, our reticular activation system is the thing that's responsible for this, and it causes us to, it causes our brain to seek out and pay more attention to things that we've previously assigned a bit of value to. But modern physiologists, psychologists, and spiritual disciplines don't necessarily agree with the science. So who's right? What is synchronicity anyway? Synchronicity is a term originally coined by a guy called Carl Jung, and he was a famous psychologist. And he coined this term to describe meaningful coincidences in our lives that have no seeming causal connection. These events are seen as signs of deeper connection between the individual and the universe, and they're believed to offer an insight and guidance from the unconscious mind. And this is all yoga's been telling us for centuries. You, as a microcosm, are a reflection of the macrocosm. So you are one with the universe, not separate, never have been. As you start to pay attention to the number patterns and the coincidences in your life, you might start to feel like perhaps there's a message in this for me. Like perhaps the numbers are almost chasing you. Maybe you keep seeing the number 1111 every time you turn over your phone. Or maybe you're watching the TV and the main character in the show is going through the exact same struggles that you are. See, Carl Jung, the psychologist, he wrote a book called Synchronicity, an acausal connecting principle, which is, if you ask me, a pretty wordy title, and maybe he should have rephrased it. But nonetheless, he found in this book some fascinating results, and to describe this, I want to give you an anecdote from the book. At one point he was treating this lady, and this lady was what Jung termed as psychologically inaccessible, and basically what that means is that she was so cold and rigid because her emotional life there was no willingness to open up in her emotional life, and she'd become structured, rigid and cold, and therefore the treatment wasn't helping her, and she'd sort of sealed herself with her intellect. Well, this woman came in to see Dr. Jung, I'm assuming, and she said to him, "Look, last night I had this really strange dream about this piece of jewellery with a golden scarab beetle that was handed to me. It was beautiful." And as she was telling the story, Carl Jung began to hear like a tapping sound on the window. He opened the window, caught a fairly large flying object as it flew in, which actually turned out to be a scarab beetle with a golden green colour that sort of resembled the one that was in her dream. Jung slapped it down in front of the woman and said, "Here's your scarab. Beautiful." This inexplicable synchronistic experience punctured a hole in that woman's intellect and broke through her rationalism and her intellectual resistance, and then from there they really could work together. She had a profound inner transformation. But you'll never guess what a scarab beetle represents. In ancient Egypt, you probably know, the scarab beetle represents rebirth, transformation and resurrection, and I just thought that was perfectly apt for this lady. Now, when it comes to the spiritual community though, we can get a little bit unhealthy, can't we, with how we're trying to interpret the meaning of the numbers or the symbols in our life. Have you ever found yourself perhaps not seeing the numbers for a few days and thinking, hang on, sugar, am I out of alignment or something like this? Here, we've kind of gone to the mind, haven't we, in this example for our answers, and truth and freedom, it doesn't lie in the mind, it's experiential. What about another example? Have you ever found yourself seeing a number and then perhaps scouring the web for its direct meaning? We're all kind of guilty of this one, aren't we? And look, I'm not saying the numbers don't have specific meanings for us. Numbers are symbols. Symbols can have personal meanings for us, isn't it? But our searches on Google, they're going to just bring up whoever's the highest ranking on Google search engine. We don't really know where they're getting their information from, do we? Sometimes you've probably read these things, oh, I've just seen 1111 and I've gone to Google to find out what it means, and what's come back is a load of nonsense that doesn't relate to my life. So we want to become really discerning about where our energy goes, isn't it? See, synchronicities are just that. They're indicators of alignment, and that's beautiful. But if we're on a path for freedom, unpopular opinion, here we come, then they're just accessories, aren't they? They can't help you find freedom, they're just signposts. But freedom and signposts, they aren't quite the same thing. They're nice spiritual reminders, aren't they? Reflections, but they can sometimes become a distraction if it goes to the mind, and then can become spiritual entertainment, and we miss the whole deeper point. If you're wanting to go beyond spiritual entertainment and do the real work to transform your life energies from within, then we would like to talk with you. We've worked with hundreds of aspirants over the years here at the Yogic Tradition, giving the tools to people to transform their inner world, and have introduced them to the blueprint to inner freedom outlined by the Yogic Tradition. So we give them the proven structure and the practices so that they can get the most effective and most reliable way on their path to enlightenment. And you can find out exactly how we do that in our free training series below. Nonetheless, as you start to see all of these synchronicities in your life, you start to open up to this sense of awe, of wonder for life again, isn't it? Because you feel totally connected to the universe. But frankly, you were never separate. When you come to the realization that synchronicities and repeating number patterns are a sign that you're on the right path in life, then they can serve as a reminder that you're never alone, and that the universe is always working in your favor. That's all she wants from you, is for you to grow into the best version of yourself that you can be. And that's why all those challenges come. And they serve to let you know, keep going, and potentially even double down on what you're already doing. And of course, while you're at it, sign up for our free app, Undercover Yogi. Here you got free live streams, free yoga, and a free community of like-minded souls all doing the work to transform and grow together. Of course, the numbers aren't telling you to do that, but it's free. We've made it for you, so you might as well. But whatever you decide, if you're seeing synchronicities, it likely means that you're on a spiritual path. And if you are, you're going to want to know about the biggest obstacles to your spiritual growth, and you can watch that one right here. Lots of love. Namaste.